Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we're going to be going over glassmorphism and kind of how to create that. I'm going to give you 3 different ways that you can easily create glassmorphism effects in Blender. And here's a couple examples for you right here. Let's hop into it. Alright guys, let's start with our cube here. Let's go ahead and click on the default cube and scale it down by the X value 0.05. So we got this nice thin box here now. Click on Object, Apply, Scale. Go to the Modifiers tab and add a bevel modifier, and we're going to set the top value here to 0.03 and we're going to give it 100 segments. Go ahead and apply that. Oops, don't duplicate it. Apply that. Right click, shade smooth. Shift D to duplicate, and we're going to go ahead and pop this gizmo out, and we're just going to move it behind the other one just a little bit, just like that. Add mesh plane. Go ahead and scale that to 10. And we're going to move it just a little bit under our cubes here, just so the cubes are just hovering above the surface. We're going to go ahead and take our light here and change that to an area light, okay? And I'm going to reset all the values to 0 like I normally do, so it's right in the center there. I am going to bring that up, and I'm going to make it a rectangle. It already is a rectangle. And we're just going to scale that up, kind of make a thin light out of that. And then we're going to move it off to the right here. Kind of something like that. I am going to pop over to the animation tab here. I'm going to click on the camera. I'm going to change it to an orthographic camera. Okay. I'm going to go into my output settings here, change both dimensions to 1080, go back to my camera settings here, and I'm going to zoom in on the scene so that we're kind of right up in the scene here. We're just going to move our arrows for the camera. And we're going to want to position those kind of in the center. Nice little composition for you there. We're going to select our plane, and we're going to make a new material. We're going to make the color black, and we are going to make the roughness 0.9. Also, let's not forget to save frequently, of course. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this to the desktop as a temp file here. And I'm going to switch to cycles so that we can actually see what this all looks like. I'm going to go to my GPU, and I'm going to turn on all those normal settings that I've turned on in past tutorials. Okay, let's go ahead and start shading these. Let's click on the back one. I'm just going to give this kind of a generic material here. I'm going to make the color blue, something like that. I'm going to turn the metallic all the way up, and I'm going to turn the roughness to 0.5. We're already there. Perfect. So that's just a simple little metal shader there for you. So, now the moment you've all been waiting for, right? You guys want to create glassmorphism. There's 3 ways to do this. I'm going to go over 3 ways from the simplest to the most complicated. You're going to get very similar results for each of these ways that we're going to do this. Alright, here's the first way. Go ahead and select the front plate here. Click on New Material. Go to Glass BDSF. And we're just going to literally adjust these 2 settings. It's that simple. We're going to do roughness 0.5, which it's already at. And we're going to do IOR 1.2, and that's index of refraction for those of you who don't know what that stands for. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here, and as you can see, we already have, in just 3 clicks, that nice diffused glass look that you guys are probably looking for. If you don't want to, you don't even have to watch the rest of this video. The other 2 ways are going to give you very similar results. This is probably going to render the fastest out of all 3. The other ones involve nodes, but here's your first way right here. Now here is the second way. You've got your front plate selected again. Let's go ahead and create a new material here. And we're going to go down and crank up the transmission to 1. And we're going to make the roughness 0.3. And boom. That was literally what, 3 steps? It's that easy, guys. Now we're going to go over the third way, which is the most complicated. It involves a bunch of nodes. Still get a cool effect, slightly different. But now you have 2 ways that take literally less than a minute. Alright guys, so what we're going to do here is literally duplicate this current shader that we have. I'm just going to rename it. I haven't been naming these at all, but I'm just going to say complicated. And we're going to go into the shading tab. The way I'm going to do this is probably not what you're used to with other tutorials. First, I'm going to lay out all the nodes, and then we're going to plug in all the necessary values for those nodes. Let's add a bump node first here. Okay. Now we're going to add a color ramp. Okay. And guys, you can, to do this, click Add, and you can search right here. You'll be able to search any node, or you can find them within these drop downs. I just find that it's easier to search. Now we're going to grab a noise texture, not white noise. Make sure you do noise texture. All right. And now we're going to add a mapping node. Next, we're going to add a texture coordinate node. Texture coordinate. Boom. So here's all the nodes that we need, and now I'm going to show you how to hook them up, and then we're going to plug in the values. So guys, here is how everything's hooked up and all the values. I'll leave this on the screen for a couple of seconds if you want to go ahead and take a look at this, but I will also go over how to hook everything up individually. All right, we're going to go ahead and plug the normal into the normal, the color into the height. All right, we're going to be going left here. Now we're going to plug in the FAC to the FAC, and then we're going to plug the vector into the vector, and we're going to plug the object into the top little vector thing right here. All right, and it's that simple. So that's how everything's hooked up, and now let's go over the values. For the first two here, you're not going to change anything. For the noise, specifically for the scale that we have this set right now, now it's going to change, guys, based on the scale of the object you're working with. But at this scale, to achieve this effect, I'm going to set the first value to 1,000, the second value to 10, roughness is going to be 0, and distortion is also going to be 0. This you can adjust to your liking. It's more of how the bumps and everything look. I'll go ahead and put this into render view to show you. Right now, it's not looking like really much of anything because we have a couple more things to adjust. But this right here is going to determine how you see through this glass, as you can tell right now. But let's adjust a couple more things here. We're going to turn the strength here down to 0.183, which is what I kind of found to be the sweet spot. And then we're going to go over here to our original principled BSDF, and we're going to turn the roughness all the way back down, because all the roughness in the bump is handled here. So we don't need it over here. And then we're going to go ahead and check our IOR, and I believe, yep, I have that at 1.2. The lower this value is, the more you're going to be able to see through the glass. So if I raise that up, you're not going to be able to see through as much. I think 1.2 is the sweet spot here. So we're going to go ahead and set that back to 1.2, and let's look at the result that we're getting. And there's our result. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. If you want, you can render out all three. I would save them as separate objects, because when you quit out of the Blender file, it will not save a material that's not applied to an object. I made that mistake earlier trying to actually make this tutorial. So this is kind of your end result. I believe this is the simple one right here. The other ones are going to look a little bumpier. The node setup right here is going to look a little rougher than this. It's going to be a little bit harder to see through. But if that's the effect you're going for, perfect. If not, use the other ones. And don't forget, when you change the index of refraction, the lower the number is, pretty much the clearer the glass is going to be. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I can't wait to see what you create. You can also create things like this as well. These are just the same object with a metallic color, but there's an array applied here. So you guys can really play around with colors and how this light interacts with things based on the glass. So I hope you enjoyed. Drop a comment down below if you did. You can also comment down below if there's something else you would like to see. So have a good day, guys. Enjoy.